Hello everybody and welcome back to another one of my videos. Today we are going to talk all about all the books that I read in April, which happened to be 6. 6 so far seems to be the amount of books that I can get in a month to go with my busy schedule, which works fine for me. I actually had a pretty good reading month. I think I enjoyed pretty much all the books that I read. Real quick, if you're new here, please hit that like button, subscribe. I would really appreciate it. It gets my videos out there. I mean, it only takes a second to hit that like button and to subscribe and stick around and keep talking books with me because, you know what, they're fun to talk about. Let's get right into talking about them so the first book I read in the month of April is Powerless. This was an interesting weird journey for me. If you've watched one of my past videos where I talk about my book boyfriends, Kai, who is the MMC of this series, is on my top 10 book boyfriend list. And he's actually number 10. I absolutely loved Kai. I just wanted to hug him. Like, he's been through so much. His life has been hard and he deserves love and everything that he's been through. And even what happens towards the end of the series, it breaks my heart, the things that he's been through. Now, I ended up rating this book 3.5 stars. Some people didn't like this book because to them, it reminded them too much of the Hunger Games and they just couldn't get out of that. Personally, I didn't see much of a Hunger Games reference in this book at all, honestly. I mean, the only thing that this book has in common with the Hunger Games is people participate in games. That's it. Like, it's not to the death. It's not a whole bunch of people coming in to one arena and only one can survive and everybody has to die. Like, people can not die in these games and, you know, it's fine. I loved the FMC and I loved the MMC and I loved the chemistry between the two of them. I felt like there was parts of this book that just were dry and slow. We'd have a game and it was like a rinse and repeat. We'd have a game and then a bunch of like same old training, some banter here and there between the characters, and then there would be a dinner, and then another game, and then more banter, and more training, and another banquet, and then another game, and it was just like rinse and repeat. I mean, they had to talk about her dress at each one of the games, each one of the banquets, and yes, the dresses were different, but like, I just felt a lot of the same. When they were actually doing the games, that was interesting. The story of how things unfolded, that was very interesting for me. It's just when they weren't participating in the games, it was just that in between times. I just felt like they were fillers and they were like, I don't know. It didn't feel like it fit with the story. I felt like it just kept, like the story would go and then eat, and then the story would go and then eat. And it's just like, oh, for crying out loud. Like, let's, you know, and even then I felt like the game, there was all these hypes for the games, but even the first game was pretty impressive. The ones after that, I was like, really? So it was a good read, 3.5 stars. That's actually, that's pretty good for Powerless. It's just, it kind of bored me. And to be honest. And so, because I love torturing myself, I just had to go straight into Reckless. And of course, these books are by Lauren Roberts, in case you're curious. I didn't say that before, but Powerless is book 1 and book 2 is Reckless. Now, Reckless for me got a full 4 stars. I actually liked Reckless more than I liked Powerless because I liked, it felt like from the beginning of the book all the way to the end of the book, there was something happening. There was, there was no this go, stop, go, stop, go, stop, right? It kept me interested. I wanted to know what was going to happen. Like, there's all of these parts and pieces that were happening and these like puzzle pieces that like are just at the edge of your mind, right? You want to know, like, you know that there's something there that you should know, but yet you don't know, and it just keeps you guessing, right? And it was just definitely better than the first one. And again, I liked how the story just kept moving forward. And there was a lot more true moments between the MMC and the FMC. They really got a chance to get to know each other without the games, without other people, right? It was just the two of them. And they really got the chance to stop and get to know who they were on more of a personal level, right? Not who their father wanted them to be, not who either of their fathers wanted them to be. They learned things about themselves in this book as well that they didn't know, and it was just an amazing journey. It's a lot of people's least favorite, but I loved it. So by the time I finished Reckless, Fearless wasn't quite out yet. It which is the third book in the series. It had like a week left until its release date. So while I was waiting, I decided let's take a break from fantasy and let's go into just more of a romance. So then I read Beneath the Stars by Emily McIntyre. And I know I've talked about this one. It's been on my TBR, I think, a couple times. And I gave this one a 4-star. It was such a cute story. But definitely, if you're going to read it, check your trigger warnings because a lot goes on in this book. They touched in a lot on this book, which also, though, at the same time, like warmed my heart, right? Like, I'm going to be honest, I'm older. I've accepted this. Everybody knows it now. My dad was an alcoholic and he was an abusive alcoholic. He wasn't a nice man. I'm a victim of a father who was an alcoholic. This really struck true on so many levels and in so many ways. It's all about healing. It's all about learning to love and understanding that you're accepting of love, that you deserve to be loved, that you're worthy, that you're not the product of the life that you came from. And I love how in this book it touches on victims, right? Like you hear all the time about people recovering from alcohol, drugs, things like that, going to AA meetings and things like that. But this really focused on the victims. The MMC in this book, Chase, at some point he talks about how people hear all the time about alcoholics, recovering alcoholics, drug addicts, recovering drug addicts. They talk about their stories. They talk about the journey that they went through. But nobody really talks about the people behind the scenes that had to deal with all of that, the ones that had to suffer through it, that had to take care of it. That nobody talks about them. They're the silent sufferers. They're the ones that didn't ask for it, but it was thrust upon them. That really touched home for me because there's so many of us, so many who suffer in silence because they think that because their pain isn't so outward showing, because we're not being destructive in our pain, that we aren't experiencing pain, right? Or we're just so traumatized that we just want to be silent about it, or we're embarrassed, or we don't want to admit what's happening, right? Like, that are just sitting there silently suffering. And this book really touched on that. Alina and Chase were just, oh man. It was all about mistakes and forgiveness and love conquering all. And it's just about two broken people coming together. It was amazing. But again, before you read it, check your triggers. By the time I finished that book, I had Fearless in the mail. So I gave this one a 4 stars as well. I thought this was a pretty good book. The story was good. The writing was good. But I don't like where she went with the story, like, at all. I mean, I expected more from this book. After reading Reckless, I expected so much more than what we got in this book. Now, she had to go through some more games, right, by herself, more trials, like queenly trials. And those were kind of interesting to see what she had to go through. And she got to go to some different places and do some different things. And I thought that was interesting. She also learned more about herself, which again was awesome. I didn't like the fact that she was engaged to the brother. I didn't like the whole aspect of her being the sole purpose behind the two brothers' animosity. Like, almost like she's tearing the two of them apart. I mean, I know realistically that's not the case. You know, she killed his father. He hated her in the beginning, wanted her dead, but then dun 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 dun, proposal, getting married. Oh, it's hard to, honestly, it's kind of hard to share how I feel about this book and why I feel the way I do about this book without giving major spoilers, because there's certain points in this book where the author does certain things. Like, you learn things about her history that has me going, ugh, ew, right? And at some point, I'm gonna tell you this, at some point, me personally, when I was reading this, I thought that there was a chance that her and the guy she was in love with, the MMC, Kai, I thought they were going to be related. Let's just say there was things that she was learning about herself that had me having serious ick factors. And so then I thought, okay, well, things are going to happen and she's going to figure it out and everything's going to be fine. Oh, no, 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 no. At least it didn't go into pure ick factor. The things that they were willing to accept, the things that they were willing to do. Still a good read. Like I said, I loved the adventures that she went on, the new people she got to meet, the new friends she made. That was all great, but there was definitely some ick factors in there that I was just like, why? So after reading Fearless, I needed a break. And I wasn't really in the mood for romancing, so you know what I did? Yep. Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. And this woman knows how to write a book. I absolutely loved this book. I am definitely with the Hey Mitch fanners. Such a good book. 5-star. It wrecked me and then put me back together and then wrecked me again. I cried so hard. And I feel like I understand Hey Mitch on such a higher, stronger level. I understand why he was the way he was. They tie in all of these connections with other people. As I was reading it in this one, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much that's making sense from the first 3 books. I was a little hesitant because I loved Hey Mitch from the very beginning, and I was worried that this book was going to ruin it because, you know what? But it was Snow's story. And when I read that, that one was hard for me to get through. I will be honest. It was hard for me to get through. But this one totally made up for it. If you're a Hey Mitch fan and you haven't read this yet, you seriously need to read it because it was so, so good. And again, I don't want to give too much away, but it tied in so much of the story. And I immediately went and watched the movies after I was finished with this because I was here for it. And then I just wanted to go into the movie and hug Hey Mitch because I feel so sorry for him. But like even all the way down to the nickname that he gives Katniss, like so much is explained and it just breaks your heart. It's just like, poor Hey Mitch. Like it's hard to see the Hey Mitch from especially the beginning of the story to the Hey Mitch that we meet in the beginning of the Hunger Games. By the end, you totally get it. I totally get it. And I understand what struggles he had to go through. And it's not even just about Hey Mitch's story either, to be honest. Like, things were put into motion in this book. And the rebellion's been going on for a long time. And it's just, yeah, again, very good book. You guys got to read it. 5 stars. Okay, and then I went into my last book of the month of April, which is Ruthless Creatures by J.T. Gessinger. And oh my gosh, this was a 5-star read for me. It's been a while since I read a mafia romance, a dark mafia romance book. And oh man, did this book deliver. It was hot. It was spicy. It was dark. This man takes charge. Like, he never skimmed, like, he's like, this is who I am. This is what I do from the get-go, right? Like, this is who I am. This is what I am. I'm not a good man. Like, bam. And the two of them, chemistry, total chemistry. Like, he heals her from her devastation because, like, I mean, I'm not telling you anything that isn't on the back of the book, but her fiance disappears And then 5 years later, she still doesn't know where he's at. She doesn't know if he's dead or anything. And she hasn't been able to move on. All of her wedding stuff is still in her closet. She hasn't been able to get rid of her wedding dress. She's depressed. She doesn't eat. And then every year on his anniversary, things get really bad. You know, she's every year on the year that he disappeared, and on the anniversary of when she was supposed to get married, she goes through kind of this extra depressive state. She's dated a couple guys since then, but they've always ended up not working out because, you know, she doesn't feel anything. You know, she's depressed, and you know, she's always just like, you know, they end up breaking up with her, and she's like, yeah, I know. Like, you know, she doesn't even care, right? Like, whatever. I know I'm the problem. Like, I just can't get into relationships. And she's like, I'm just going to be a cat lady, right? And then along comes him. At first, she's just like, oh my gosh, like, you know, he makes it seem like he's not interested, but then he totally is interested. And he tells her straight up, like, I want to sleep with you. And it's going to happen. And she's like, I don't even know you, dude, right? Like, it's not like they went on the date. Like, the first time they were together, it was a total accident. At least on her part. I'm starting to wonder if maybe he followed her. But yeah, anyways, such a good book. Her best friend is absolutely hilarious. She's the type of friend that would be like, oh, he's a total bad boy. Get him, girl, get him, right? Like, she's not that careful, shy, back off type person. No, she's the, yes, let's do it. Yes. Like, you need to get with this man. And so I liked her best friend, which is actually pretty exciting because in book 2, if I'm understanding correctly from what's on the back of, because I kind of looked them up on Amazon, the next book is supposed to be about her best friend. And I'm here for it. Like, yes, but it was definitely a 5-star read. I was laughing. I was like, steam was coming out of my ears. I was blushing. I was like, it's warm in here. Absolutely loved this book. And I can't wait to read the next one. And I like how each one of the books have different colored pages. This one's got purple, and Carnal Urges, which again is book 2, has green pages. So I don't know why, but little things like this just get to me. So, and of course it smells good. But yeah, anyways, this is a very good book. And it was a great ending to the month of April. So that ends all of the books that I read for the month of April. I didn't quite read everything that was on my TBR list for the month of April. Some things kind of changed, and I'm okay with that, right? Like, I was just, at this point, I was just kind of mood reading. Like, I'd get through some of these books, and like, again, for instance, you know, I read Powerless and Reckless, and then Fearless came out, you know, in the month of April. And it's like, oh, I got to read that. So, you know, yeah. But I got through some of the books in my TBR. So that's pretty good for me. Zodiac Academy is still on my list of books that I want to read so bad. I'll get to them eventually, I swear. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys look forward to my next one, which is going to be a more of a vlog style. I don't want to give too much away. You guys can be surprised when you see it, so you'll definitely want to be subscribed if you want to see that next video. I hope everybody had a fantastic week. I hope you guys had some great books to read. Let me know down in the comments below, what book are you guys currently reading, and is it a book that you're liking, or is it kind of a book? I'll see you guys later. Bye.